And her subscriber base, ever since I started working with her, has grown, I would say 3 times the amount she had. So she started off with, I would say, around 1,000 subscribers, and now we're at 5,000 something, I think close to 6,000 now. So it's it's just like, how much are you teasing it in your social media to
Welcome
join
to
your
LoveliEsteem. I'm Lovelie, the auntie you always wanted, the sister girlfriend you didn't know you needed, honey. You got to have self-love to have self-esteem. And here we know that God don't make no junk. So we're going to sit down, talk about it, and see how we can fix it, baby. Let's do it. Welcome to
Okay, great.
LoveliEsteem. Okay. All right. Hey guys, this is Lovelie with LoveliEsteem, and welcome back to the Healing Through Conversations podcast. Today I have a really special guest, because when you're an entrepreneur, I find that you sometimes can be intimidated and you don't know what questions to ask. And sometimes you may be in a room full of people, but it feels like you're alone. You feel like you're the only person having this issue. You're the only person who can't communicate, or you don't know who your audience is, or you may be trying to figure out ways to be creative, but you don't know what's creative and professional, or you can't align your brand with the communications that you're trying to send out. So today we have a marketing strategist. I was like, okay, all right, I love it. And Miss Pandey, because she's going to say her first name for me.
Shlesha. Shlesha
Shlesha.
Pandey.
Shlesha Pandey, Miss Shlesha Pandey. She is here to talk to us, not just only about herself and becoming a business owner, because I think that is a big kudos to anybody who wants to jump out there. But the fact that she's doing freelance work, which means that she knows what she's talking about. So we're here to listen. So welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Please introduce us to yourself.
Thank you so much for having me, Lovelie. I am so excited to be here. My name is Shlesha, and I have my own email marketing micro agency. I would say that I started off as a writer. I started off as a conversion copywriter, but before that, I actually used to write fiction stories. Yeah,
I'm a reader. I'm a reader.
Oh, really? Well, I wrote some really saucy stories. I wrote some romance.
And that's where I am, baby. All the way saucy. Too much sauce, extra sauce.
Yeah, well, they were some spicy romance stories. I posted them on a site called Wattpad. This was a long time ago. And when I did that, they blew up. There were like millions of readers on my book. And there are people commenting, like begging for the next chapter and being like, you left us on a cliffhanger. When is it coming? When is it coming? And then that was when I was like, you know what? I think I have a talent for keeping people on the edge. So I was like, yeah. So I was like, you know what? Let me see if I can monetize this somehow, because at that time I was working at a bank. And it was not really the kind of job that I enjoyed. One, I'm really like, this is probably a very controversial topic, but I'm not really fond of the way the banking system is kind of like structured.
I don't think you're controversial at all. I think you have way more of us with you than against you.
Yeah, well, so I was like, okay, this does not really vibe with like who I am as a person. This isn't really like, it doesn't really match my values, like what I'm working for, what I'm standing for. Like, I started off, this is a little bit off topic, but I started off in their call center as like a customer support representative when I was in university. It was a part-time job. And I used to have people calling in about their banking problems. And then it was so sad seeing like the state of some people's accounts, and they used to like cry and beg for fee reversals. And it was really, really sad, especially with protocol having to say no. And the banks are making billions of dollars on these fees. And anyways, that just took a different
like we said, or like we were talking about off camera, sometimes the information that you drop is just like, that's a gem, right? Because
right,
it helps you understand people. It helps you be more empathetic and sympathetic towards what people are going through.
Yeah.
And it helps you to be able to communicate a whole lot differently than you would be if you had not done something like that.
Exactly. And I think I've always been an empathetic person. So that's why that kind of didn't resonate with me. And I was really eager to like leave that job. Anyway, so I found out about I was like, I need to monetize writing somehow. I know that writing is my passion. I love doing it. And I was like, it's going to be really hard to make it as a fiction story writer. how much money can, like, unless, in my opinion, unless you're really lucky, or like you're really, like, your name really gets out there, it's really hard to like make a lot of money doing that. So I was like, I found out about copywriting. I was like, hey, businesses pay money for high converting copy, which means you keep your readers on the edge during copywriting. You do all of those things that a good fiction writer would do, but for businesses. And you lead them basically to through a customer, through a journey to the point of sale. And that's how I became a copywriter. I started learning about copywriting. I took some courses. I started getting my first few clients, and then from there I really enjoyed email copywriting, because one, they're quick, snappy, and they're so close to the sale. Especially for product-based businesses, you can literally open an email and make a sale just like that. Even for service providers when you're going through a launch, but for product-based businesses, there's always something going on. There's always something to sell. So that was kind of where my passion lied, and then my bread and butter. And then I found out more about, I lean more into like strategic copywriting. I lean more into like data analytics, and all together it became a wholesome business. And that's where we are today. I started, yeah, I've grown, and I'm very happy about how my journey so far.
I love, first, you had so much joy, like so much joy. You almost like levitated from your chair because you love what you were talking about. And but that's the thing, right? Like, part of whenever I talk about mental health, whenever I invite people onto the podcast, a lot of the reasons why I do that is because I love being able to see what joy looks like in different backgrounds, different cultures, from different walks of life, and also in businesses that, if you look at the movies, they aren't always portrayed as good places to be or happy jobs, or, you know, it's always the basketball player, the actress, the such and such, but they don't realize that all those people need people like you in their lives to be able to sell the story that they're trying to, you know, articulate and trying to emote. And I just feel like when you get to talk to a person who enjoys what they do, it's a different kind of joy. Like, it's a different kind of elation.
I completely agree. I love what I do. Like, that's, I think you can see that from my face. I really enjoy it. And I love where we've come, and I love even the future projections that are happening. Everything is just so beautiful about it. But that's not to say there weren't drawbacks, or there weren't like heavy or hard times. There were, and there always will be. That's just a fact of how business is, of how life is. Um, like, there's no avoiding hard times.
Woo, that's a t-shirt. There is no avoiding hard times. But I feel like, especially because my husband's been an entrepreneur, CEO for 25 years. And I've got to watch him be great, be good, fail, succeed, the whole nine. And I think that one of the big lessons I learned from him, he was like, anybody can sign up to become an entrepreneur, but it takes a strong person to stay there. He said, because once you don't have anybody to tell you what to do, if you aren't oriented to be the follow-up person, if you aren't oriented to be the detailed person, it'll feel like you're failing when you just need more skill set.
Yeah. Yeah. And I totally agreed. That is, it takes a lot of perseverance for sure. Like, you know, as an entrepreneur, there's no steady paycheck usually until you have like a really solid business going on. There is no steady paycheck, especially as a freelancer. You don't know, 1 month you're earning like a lot of money, the next month it's like nothing, it's like pennies. So it is like there's a feast and famine cycle, and there are ways to get out of it and build your business in a way that you don't have to be stuck there. But it's, especially initially, it's really hard for like to get off the ground, to get that consistency, and, you know, to be at a good place.
So what would be your like top tips for someone who is starting a business? What would be your like first like 3 steps they really need to focus on?
It's a good question. I would say be clear on your why. Like, why does what you offer, like, there are many ways to think about your why. You can be like, why do I want to do this? But the why I'm talking about is, why will my offer actually make a difference to, you know, my target audience? I guess that also leads to the question, what is a target audience? Who is your target audience? So first off, figuring out what problem does your business solve. figuring out, are there people in the market who are actually willing to pay money for that problem to be solved? And then figuring out like who exactly those people are, and don't just be vague about it. That's one mistake I see very commonly. People are like, oh, every female. That's very vague. Like that's not honed in enough. You have to be very vague. I'm not very vague. You have to be very specific. What's the age group? What are their characteristics? Like I would say go deep and kind of make like a list. Like imagine you're them. What are they doing in their day? What are the hiccups they're facing? What are their pain points? What are their struggles? You have to like be very specific, and that's the only way that you can really leverage that in your marketing, so you can attract the right people. Because trying to appease everyone really appeases no one. You need to appeal, like even if it's just one person, if you can really speak to them, like one target audience, you're gonna get really, 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 you're gonna get really close to them. So
No,
that would be, yes, my top tips.
no, but that's great because you really like, I think when you are, one, you're so right. When you kind of cast your net out so wide, like you're nowhere near anything. It's usually you pull back nothing because you're trying to make everybody happy. But I think that sometimes when you tell people you need to niche down, they get very lost because they're like, well, what does that mean? What does niching down mean? And I love how you said, like, imagine you're talking to yourself. Are you trying to sell to yourself, or who are you trying to sell to? Because, if you are a person and you're like, I hardly buy anything, you need to really then start asking other questions, because if you don't buy anything and you're talking to yourself, who's going to buy your product?
Yep, exactly. Even if you aren't your own target audience, there are people, like you just really need to make sure someone is your target audience. You don't want to make a product that nobody would pay for, because then you're just going to spend endless cycles and you're just going to be lost, because you're going to be like, why is nobody buying? What's wrong with me? When there's nothing wrong with you. It's just maybe what you're selling is not really something people are willing to pay for. And sometimes that's a hard reality, but it's something that is very important. So that's why market research is super important.
And when people are doing, well, I guess at this point, this is where you kick in, because I believe that everybody needs to build a team, depending on where you are and what your budget is, because I do understand that budget plays a large part in what you're able to accomplish. But I feel like nowadays you have good tiers. Some people can just help you really get off the ground. People who can do a little more market research for you, and then people who can do it for you for real, like they can take you to the next level. So when you say that you are you said a micro or
Micro,
macro,
yeah,
yeah,
like a really small, lean team.
which I think gives you a chance to really learn about your client.
Exactly. And I'm very involved in all of the client work, which is, the thing is, there are a lot of people who are really good at their craft, but they tend to make agencies without involving themselves in it, which is their business model. And that's totally fine. But I really enjoy what I do. And I really want to be a part of like the strategy. I want to be a part of, making my clients happy. I really enjoy seeing that. Seeing the excitement on their face when they receive copy, or like when their results convert. That's like the best thing to see. So I love being part of that experience.
So when I always say, so say for instance, a person's been in business for 5 years and they're kind of still struggling. What would you start, like, how would you go in to your marketing strategy for them?
Okay, that's a good question. So first I would kind of see what exactly are they struggling with? What's going on? Is it lack of sales? Is it lack of traffic? What's the problem? Are they getting a lot of a lot of traffic to their site? Are they not converting? Like, where is the leaking point? We have to figure that out and fix that first. So let's say they're running ads. They're getting a lot of foot traffic or on-site traffic to their website. But then they're just not, let's say they're not signing up to their email list. That is generally the next step. So I would say at that point, we have to figure out, firstly, where are their ads leading to? Are they leading to particular product pages, or are they leading to like a bland, like normal homepage? Because then the user, they have to click around a lot to figure out what they want. So you have to kind of be strategic even with your ads placement. So let's say they have a product, they funnel ads directly to their product pages, but still people are dropping off. Then what I would say is next we have to look into like their pop-up form, their offer, like let's say the email says like 10 or the pop-up form that comes like subscribe to our email list, we'll give you 10% off or whatever that says. We have to make sure that's high converting too. So there are ways to do it where there are tactics I use, like strategies I use for my clients which have seen crazy high conversion rates on these pop-up forms. You have to make serious tweaks to the copy. You have to make it exciting for them. You have to make it rewarding for them. So the offer form has to be super rewarding and make it like basically like a no-brainer for them to submit their email. The fact of the matter is if they're on your page, they're already interested if they're coming in through an ad, right?
Yes.
So there should be no reason really for them to drop off. The only reason would be like somewhere you're not really addressing the doubts that are in their mind. So you have to see them as a person and you have to see what can I do to convert this person, because I know like my product will really change their life. Those are the businesses I love working with. Yeah, so that's what I would suggest. And then if depending on where they are in the journey, we have to identify the leaks, and maybe it's updates to their website, maybe it's updates to like the design or the copy, maybe it's updates to their emails. Like we have to really figure out where the drop off point is and really create a strategy based on that. Once we figure that out, then all it is like optimizing from there. Once you have like a good kind of cadence of things are going well, then you can do even better by A/B testing, by seeing what works versus like, let's say a lot of people talk about subject lines, like testing 2 different subject lines. That's one method, but you could also test 2 different offers on your pop-up page, like 10% off versus like $10 off. That's a good one to test. So things like that. There's so many different elements you could keep tweaking and testing. And especially if you have traffic, there are usually a lot of numbers that can help support those tests.
I love that. I love having when you give your clients a chance to make the decision, like you said, the 10% versus $10 off, because you never know who, some people just don't, they hit 10%, they're like, that's not enough. But $10, they're like, oh, okay, that sounds pretty good. That's any of us, whenever we like open up our email and maybe one of our favorite sites pop up and we're like, I don't know if I want to do this.
Exactly.
Oh, $20 off. That sounds pretty good. That's the
exactly.
taxes.
It's like a free shirt somewhere. So
yeah, I love that. I love that. And so when you as a business owner, when you are trying to no, I think I want to because I want to really start talking about the email marketing side of things. Sure. Because I think I'm more excited about that. I just know that when being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, and learning how to put things on automatic is huge. Huge, because some of these things are so time consuming.
Yeah.
So how do you work with the 6-month plan, 1-year plan, 2-year plan type clientele?
Yeah. So strangely enough, a lot of people are not so planned.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. That's totally fine. I love clients who actually have like a long-term plan. Sometimes they have numbers, like they'll be like, we want to hit $5 million next year or something like that. But a lot of the times they don't even know when their next sale is. So there are little nitty gritties that we have to kind of work backwards for. And we have to figure that out together usually. So it's like, okay, so your goal is you want X% of people increase in your sales through your email list. Let's say you want an extra $100,000 this year from your email list. Then what do we need to do to make that happen? Well, first off, how many people are actually converting right now? We would look at that. How many sales, if we keep it going just as it is, what's our projected sales number? And then next we come up with a strategy and be like, okay, so from our results, from our testing, from our tweaking, we've seen that these are the types of emails that convert the highest. We like value-driven emails really convert well, for example. So giving people value, and it doesn't have to only be like educating them, even though that works too. It can just be something fun. Like it can be a funny email. It can be something that makes their day. It can be like, hey, Lovely, we were just thinking about you today and we just wanted to send an email to make sure you're doing okay. Like you know, something like that. Like you just make the customer feel heard and not just like they're a sale. That is, in my experience, something that is monumental. A lot of brands are not doing it, which they should be doing, because you the only way to make more money through your customers is by creating a genuine relationship with them. You want to increase their lifetime value, right? It's not like one sale and they're done. In fact, a lot of my data has told me that most of your purchases are coming from repeat purchasers because they have bought from you, they trust you, and they are willing to buy from you again. So we would create a plan going backwards based on what your goals are. And from there, it would just be, okay, step one, step two, step three. And then depending on the work arrangement between me and the client, we would either need to alter that, or we would need to make sure it fits within the scope. Otherwise, we just change the scope and we just work in a different model depending on what's needed there. But generally, yeah, like if you're marketing, if you're doing email marketing, your sales are going to go up, especially with someone who's testing everything, who's actually making data driven decisions. And you're not just like sending emails for the sake of it. Sending emails for the sake of it works to a certain level, but if you want to really get to the next level, you really need to look at your data, and just kind of see what works. And if you're working with someone who actually understands the strategy, your sales are going to go up. That they have the experience and they just know what works. So it's, yeah.
So she said she's the person who knows the data. That's what I heard. I heard she said, I'm the person who knows the data.
I'm not going to deny it. I have so many results.
But I love it because one of the things that I learned, especially when it comes to women entrepreneurs and business owners, is that we have to learn how to appreciate ourselves, right? Because when we are there as CEOs and founders of companies, why would you expect anybody to look at you as the leading person on this, or you have the best direction to follow, when you don't trust yourself, when you speak to about yourself as if you were still trying to figure it out? Like sometimes you have to fake it till you make it, but not really.
It's a big struggle for sure, and it has been for me as well. Even to this day, sometimes I'm like, yeah, we can probably. I'm like, why are you saying probably? Your track record shows that for every client you worked with, their sales have gone up. Like, why are you saying probably? Like, I have to catch myself all the time, still till today. And I think that's just ingrained in us as women, and especially even as minority women, right? Like, it's just, that's like another topic, but it's very, very important. I think
it's very important.
It's in our DNA.
It very much is. And I was having a conversation yesterday, and we were saying that culturally, depending on where you grew up, your community, sometimes you were taught that bragging, which it isn't, you really are just, you're showing your resume, you're letting people know you can trust me to get this job done. But in our culture, it's considered that you're, bragging, or that you aren't humble enough, or, that you're trying to show up A, B, or C when you're not. It's like, you sent me to school for this. I finished school to do this. Why would I not use my skill set?
Exactly. I completely agree. I've been told so many times, if I start even talking about what I do, like, don't be so egotistical. Don't, like, these are from people who are close to me, by the way, who say these things.
Yeah.
They're usually the ones.
You're like, but I think that's why I joined Entrepreneurista. And I was saying, when you join a community of women, sometimes you feel skeptical because depending on your how you experience middle school, high school, depending on if you were bullied, if you were in an environment or around older women who always try to humble you or keep you kind of suppressed, you don't always trust that it's face value, that people really want to see you do well. And I think that with Entrepreneurista, I just feel like every woman that I've encountered wants you to do well. Like, they want you to sincerely do well, even if you're in the same niche as them. They're like, well, we can do it together. Let's yeah.
And I love that about Entrepreneurista and any groups that actually are supportive like that. They don't see you as competition, they see you as collaboration. I think that is just fundamentally beautiful. And I feel like as women, like, sometimes I've seen that women tend to be women's worst enemies, and I don't think that's necessary. We should be the ones uplifting each other and just supporting each other. And, because every woman out there has a harder journey. I was reading a quote yesterday from Rachel Rogers. I think it was like 2% or 3% of millionaires are women, millionaire entrepreneurs, I think. And that was shocking. I was just like, why? That's so unnecessary. But it's just because of how we're wired and how we've been taught and how we've grown up. Um, and for generations, like it's in our genes too, because generationally, like I think only like 20, 30 years ago, maybe 30, 40 years ago, we were allowed credit cards and we were allowed banking accounts and things like that.
And
So
this, I always tell people, I'm like 1970-ish, you were allowed to get a bank account as a woman. I was born in 1976.
50 years ago. Oh,
You know,
wow.
so you think about, I'm 48.
Oh, wow. You don't look 48. You look
Thank
much
you.
younger.
But I think about that. I'm like, in my, as in, even if you were allowed to have a bank account, then you have to now niche it down. If were you a woman of color, were you an immigrant? Those were very different spaces for that. And depending on what state you lived in, what county you lived in, so I think that a lot of the times, and what part of the world you lived in, so now when I see women really dreaming big and accomplishing all of these goals, I'm not surprised, because the longer you suppress something, when it finally starts to rise, it literally erupts.
Yeah.
And I love that about what you're trying to, what you're not only trying to do, but what you're doing. But the fact that you can own what you're doing, because you went to school for this, you're doing this with your full chest, as they say, So I don't think you're bragging. I think your number's going to speak for itself. And then when people come in, they're like, I mean, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I need to reach out to her on my own, because
You're so kind.
Because I've never done, that's my like last, for me as a business owner doing mental health advocacy work, it doesn't always require a product, because a lot of the times it has a lot to do with talking and speaking and kind of being supportive and providing resources, but a lot of free resources. So you don't always have to do something. But I think probably in the last 6 months, because I've written 4 books.
Wow.
So
incredible.
Thank you. So those 4 books now, it's like, now I need to learn how to make myself scalable. And that's not something I ever really had to think about. But I think even as a business owner, you may think about the future, but you don't know what's going to really trigger you or make you happy.
Exactly. And you don't always need to have a product to be selling to make your brand effective. Right now I'm working with someone, she doesn't have any products. We're just doing newsletters for her to grow her audience. She has a good Instagram following. So we're using newsletters as a way to nurture her audience, to provide educational content. She's a financial content creator, by the way. So we talk about taxes, we talk about like RRSPs, investing, different kinds of topics like that really gauge people's interest. And we exclusively do it on her newsletter so that she gets subscribers. And also it's easier for longer form content and things like that too. And her subscriber base, ever since I started working with her, has grown, I would say 3 times the amount she had. So she started off with, I would say, around 1,000 subscribers, and now we're at 5,000 something, I think close to 6,000 now. So it's like, it's just like, how much are you teasing it in your social media to join your newsletter? Like that is all, like that's one of the biggest hacks for list growth, I would say. That's how we got her list growth up. And we actually have educational content for her customers, or not customers, I don't want to call them that, but like her subscribers. So it's good content, and as long as you're giving value and you're giving good content, like there is so much you can do with an email newsletter. It's like it's like your exclusive online community. It's like people who are subscribed to you, they're willing to hear from you, they want to learn from you. And I think there's nothing more beautiful than that.
I love that. And it's opening my eyes, because I think, like I always tell people, this is the entrepreneur journey. I started the journey in 2021, and then I was like, no. And then I ran away. And then it took me a minute to like really figure out not only what was my niche, but who was I talking to, right? Because I think that sometimes self-doubt tells you that, like I always say, I'm talking to myself. That is a huge reason why I started in the mental health sector, because I realized that I wasn't seeing a lot of people who looked like me talking about things that were really affecting me in my, with regards to my mental health, my spiritual health, you know, not just physical health, but like your emotional health, being able to really express your emotions, being able to articulate your feelings and not feel guilty for doing that.
Yeah.
And that was like super huge for me. But you have to overcome these barriers that you built for yourself. And sometimes that, like we said, the people closest to us who taught us about how to present ourselves, they kind of like, those voices don't always disappear. Sometimes they show up when you really need them to not show up, you know?
Yeah.
So that was a big thing. So I think that 2023 into 2024 really just gave me more courage. And now this is, now you really like put a bug in my ear, because I'm like, I never even thought about a newsletter in email, but that's a great space to go for mental health and mental health tips and tools.
Oh, 100%. I think that it can blow up because see, I did that thing again. I said, I think, I know it'll blow.
You know, I'm going to keep putting I know. Every time you say I think, I'm just going to put I know, because
You know what it is? You like anytime how I really want to try this. I want to go into like my meetings with like any guys and just like count the number of times I hear like I think versus like I know, like this is happening. Like, you know, that confidence that's there, like we need that. Like we
we
need to
do.
practice that. But I definitely know that it would happen in the mental health space 100%. There are so many people. I think there's a stat going on in Canada, at least here. 3 out of 5 people are mentally ill.
Yep. Same
It's
here.
it's
Well, it's
insane.
4
Like,
actually. Yeah.
oh man, wow. You're probably right. I think it is 4 here too. So I would say, yeah, like everyone needs it. Like everyone. Just it's necessary. And if you're doing something great, if you're here to heal people, you're here to help people, I really believe that that's a like it's I'm saying the word beautiful a lot today, but it's something that is truly beautiful. Like it's needed and it's necessary. And it's a great space to do your email newsletter in.
Yeah, I just don't think that I ever thought about that, because I've always done visual content. And I think when you're doing visual content, you just, the email
Where do you
doesn't,
post it?
I posted on Instagram, and I posted on TikTok.
Okay, you
Sometimes
can always
Facebook, but Facebook has not been, it's friendly for family, but not anywhere else. Like it just
yeah.
hasn't really been the space for me. But I also realized that it's not my space either. So I can't put something somewhere that I don't even go back to look at, you know.
Right. Yeah. You can always repurpose what you're posting on Instagram or TikTok into email newsletters. You can just make it longer form content. So let's say you have like 5 bullet points of something on Instagram. You can maybe talk more about like your journey in your newsletter, or you can talk more about like why these 5 things are so important for, I don't I don't really know how in detail you go, but let's say there's like a
All the way.
scientific edge.
Like I've gone to school. That mental health is my school. Like
I love that.
I do
Okay,
continuous
perfect.
learning and things like that. And but I do have a blog on my website that I post to LinkedIn all the time.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and LinkedIn works for me, but blogging is not. I always think, I'm like, blogging, because I'm so detail oriented,
Yeah.
I can give you a 5-page blog like without thinking about it. Which now you're like, you can convert that into an email. I'm like, God, I didn't even think
You
about it.
convert that probably into 5 emails.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
can always do an email series as well, which again, it goes back into the teasing thing. Stay tuned for the next newsletter where we talk about XYZ, because that, you know, it's a hook. It makes them want to open the next one too and makes them eagerly wait for your newsletters.
You have opened my eyes. I was just here. I'm like, we're going to talk about email marketing. Now I'm like, okay, now that we're talking about it, my brain is like, wait a minute, because I love to learn, and I love people who specialize in things, and I love learning from other people, right? Because I truly believe that if I'm not the authority in this, I'm not going to tell you about it. Like,
Yeah.
I'd much rather you start talking about it and me go, yes, but no, honestly, but so say, with regards to email marketing, right? Like you said, you can take your visual format and turn that into an email marketing strategy.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that something that you would kind of help schedule, or is that something that the person themselves really come to you with this idea and you help them figure it out?
Yeah, so it really depends on the way they prefer to work on it. Some people, they prefer to do all of like the stuff themselves. Like I've had brands I worked with that have their own copywriter, their own designer, and they just have me come in for strategy work.
Okay.
So it's like strategy, reporting, scheduling, uploading, those kind of things. They want me to work on that only.
Mm.
Whereas they have like another, like their own in-house team members working on things. I've had like family run businesses, small businesses who come to me for consulting sessions, because so basically they do all the work, they just run it through me and are like, okay, how do I optimize this, how do I optimize that, how do I make this higher converting, how do I make this more interesting. So I have so many different ways to work with me, and really it's all I have packages as well, but I think that I prefer having a custom approach depending on your needs. I don't like to tell people you have to work my way. It's not one of my values. If there is something that is different about your business, then I would customize a package for that.
I love that. I love that. And so with your company, do you have different tiers with regards to pricing and budget?
Yeah. So usually for smaller businesses, I would say it's better to go for consulting sessions, because full service email marketing is generally for businesses who are earning like a lot of money through email marketing already, or at least they have the potential to earn a lot of money through email marketing. Because I want to make sure that the investment is worthwhile for them. I'm never the kind of person who's like, work with me, even though, and then not be able to help them. I don't want, like, that's not my value. Uh, I would always be honest about what the best way to work with me is.
Which I love that, because I was having this conversation and then I wind up being, I love doing like I said, CLE, huge on that. I just feel like when you love what you do, you want to learn more, and it's always evolving and changing. I did 2 classes today, like my lunch hour I had one, and then like early this morning I did one. But my husband's like, you're just nerdy. I was like, first off, I'm a higher learner. Thank you.
I
Don't
love
talk to
it.
me like that. But it's because it gives you a chance to, like, some of the marketing meetings are in the morning time, like the 8 o'clock breakfast, 7 o'clock. And they were basically saying, which I already know, but they were like, you need to make sure that you are creating something that you would give your best friend, creating
Yeah.
something that you would, your community can use, because they need to trust you. And do
Mhm.
you trust yourself with your best friend? Absolutely. And you need to look at it that way. And I was like, okay. I, I, I mean, I'm in the middle of writing 7 more books, but because I love
Wow.
you can, so think about the kind of person you're talking to, because if I call you, you're going to be like, no, Lisa, no, because you're but it's because I love journals, I love affirmation books, I love
Love
mantra
that.
books,
Mhm.
and being able to talk to people in the different languages that they speak. Some people say
Yeah.
chant, some people say prayer, some people say mantras, some people
Yeah.
say affirmation. So like reaching out to the audience in that way. But I was
Mhm.
like, every time I write a book, I think, would my best friend like this? And sometimes I just call her and like, so do you like it or not? Like, say yes.
Oh, I love that. That's so cute.
But yeah. So I mean, honestly, so how can people reach you? Like, what's the first step that they really have to take in order to make sure that they're a good fit for you as well as you're a good fit for them?
Yeah, honestly, as long as your values are like that, like you're actually open-minded, you're actually willing to experiment, you're looking for help, like you're looking for feedback, you're looking for genuine like help, then you're a good fit. Like as long as you're not like, I'm hiring you, but I know better about email marketing, even though I've never done it. Like, as long if there's someone like that, and I kind of sense that, or I kind of like I will have a conversation. I'm never someone who's like, you know what, I will never talk to you again. I'm not like that. I'm just like, hey, like this is the pros, like this is how I tend to work. This is my track record. This is how I've helped so many businesses in all these years. And this is how we've achieved continuous growth. And a part of it is just understanding like we are the experts, and we are totally open for feedback. After all, it's your business. We want to be able to support that, but you just need to understand that we are also coming in with our own expertise, and we're not like an employee at your company.
I can imagine you've had that happen to you quite a
Oh,
lot.
so many times.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's very common as a freelancer. This has happened so many times. Like, and I understand, it's your business. You want to it's your baby, right? You want to do what you think is the best. But sometimes, even if it's your own baby, you have to kind of look at it from a distance and kind of be like, okay, I am being too emotional right now. This is not what's actually best for my baby. So I would say that. But yeah, I definitely think like there's so much potential for nearly any business out there with email marketing. Email is evergreen. It's something that has been around forever. Not forever, but like a long time. And your grandma probably even has an email address. And so you can reach a lot of people through email marketing.
You're so right, but you're so right. Grandma has 3 email addresses, one for
Oh my
sales,
gosh.
one for businesses. You're like, okay, grandma, like you need to put your fingers down. But I agree with you. And I know that when I took a marketing class, they were saying that email was the most organic way for you to have sales come in, for you to grow your business. And I think that it sometimes can feel overwhelming, especially when you start looking at like MailChimp and all the different places that you can go. And I'm always like, is there a way to BCC? Is there a way, like, what can I do where it's not ultra expensive to advertise as a small business? Because advertisement can be so overwhelming for a small business with regards to expenses.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's definitely, so email marketing is definitely an important, I would say one of the most important forms of growth and like reaching out to people and marketing. But the reason for that is also because something like social media, like let's say Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, they can ban you and then you lose everyone and everything right there.
Right.
Yeah. Email service providers, yes, they're like, if you blast people with spammy emails, there are chances of your emails landing in spam, but usually like that happens in a very rare occasion when you're just like not following rules and you're just like blasting anyone and everyone. There are ways to like not land in spam. But that's that's another Pandora's box.
See, but this is what I love about this conversation. I love, one, that you have so much information.
I have so much.
You have so much, and that you enjoy what you're doing. And I promise you, I'm going to reach out to you. Now, I'm not 100% sure I can afford everything that's happening, but usually a consultation, I'm really good with it.
Okay.
Because I've honestly, this conversation has really enlightened me as a business owner, thinking about the next steps.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that sometimes you get, I am a 3-month, 6-month, I'm a planner, as you can tell.
I love that. I really love that. Like that's so important, I find.
But I don't think that I've ever thought about email, which I would, but I didn't think about email until I started writing. Because now it's like, how do you move these units of books? Like, how do you get sales from these books? And like you said, you're not always viral. You're not always super. I mean, I have a good following on TikTok, almost 50,000.
Wow,
But it's one of those
to get
things.
them on your email list.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know how to get people on the email list from TikTok. Like, I have no clue. And I'm not even 100% sure that most
I'll
of
give
those
you
people,
strategies.
I was going to say, I'm not even 100% sure that some of the people on TikTok, I would want to have an email address for me,
Oh
because,
my gosh, what kind of people are they?
because I'm just like, no. Some people are just so mean. They like follow you just to
No.
be mean and things like that. But
Oh,
I usually, like, most of the people that I connect with on Instagram, I mean, on TikTok, are super organic. I talk about mental health. I talk about struggles with relationships, things like that, which really still resonate with a lot of people. I try to be very honest and transparent, because I believe that that's some of the things that we needed when we were growing up. We needed more transparency about being a woman and what that looks like. without being told to be in the kitchen or have babies or be married or
Yeah.
all the things. I'm like,
Yeah.
we got it. We know that part. But can we talk about perimenopause? Can we talk about what it looks like when you don't have kids or you don't want children? What does that life look like? Can we talk about what it looks like when you don't feel mentally healthy enough to take care of anybody nor yourself? Can we talk about those? So that's where I was going with my whole
That's there's so much you can do. Like, girl, you need to have an email list. Like,
I told you I'm going to reach out to you because you blew my mind, and I was
oh
like,
my gosh.
okay, we need to calm down because we are recording and you can't just look like you spazzed out. But honestly, I don't even think that was, and not that I receive emails all the time from different people that I've signed up for and I read it, but I just never associated it with myself.
Yeah, I understand. But you said you have 50,000 people on TikTok following you. Like, even if you like, you start getting those people on your email list, that's a more intimate way to talk to them, to have deeper conversations, to start linking to your books. Are you currently selling them on Amazon or through your website?
On Amazon. I have it on my website for so that you can click and link into it. But I also, you said pop up, and I'm like, I'm telling you, you really like you keep checking off little things, and now my brain is like, don't forget this recording. We're gonna have to go back and listen to it so I can be like, she said this is what I need to do. Because I have it linked on my website, but I was like, it's kind of an afterthought. It's and not on purpose, but I think that because I'm doing everything myself, you're like, let's make sure that it's on the website and people can see it. But
Yeah.
it's not like a open up the website. Hey, remember I have a book.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Exactly. Like, there are ways, 100%. And if you have a pop-up, the pop-up is generally to get people on your email list. You could do it as a discount to your book if you're heavily promoting your book on social media. Um, Otherwise, you could have like a lead magnet. Have you heard of that term before?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I took like 4 classes to understand, and but it's a different language. It really is a different
I
language.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really can be. I'm sometimes when I talk, I'm like, I have to remind myself that not everyone knows my language. So, like, my email
When people
marketing.
started saying search, like when SEO started, I'm like, what do we do now? What's this a new word? But now I love
Yeah.
it because it makes sense. It makes sense when I'm blogging or when I'm writing to be able to be searchable,
Yeah.
So, and I'm like,
Exactly.
and I love that. And I was saying to my husband, I'm like, if you type in Lovely Brown or LoveliEsteem, I'm everywhere,
Wow.
which I'm proud of myself. But it's
I'm
the
very proud of you too.
thank you. But it's the individual name. Like this isn't a standard name out there.
It's
But
amazing. Like,
I'm going to be called. I'm serious. I'm so sincere that if I can afford to for you to help me out, I really will be a part of this
we'll have a
because
conversation. I'll see how I can help you out to the best of my ability.
because one, I believe in you because I love when I see people who are happy about what they're doing. It makes because you don't get to see that often.
That's true.
Most people are like, so I have a job and I work in finance. And you're like, okay.
The funny thing is, a lot of people, they talk about like boundaries with work, and I do have those. I'm not saying I don't have any boundaries, but a lot of people say like don't work after like 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. or like don't work on weekends. I'm so flexible with how I work. I'm just like I feel really good working on my business on the weekends. Like, I love
Too.
it.
I feel so productive. I'm like,
It's
now
like a hobby for me.
I could not agree more. I write, I do blogs. Like if I'm talking to somebody and they give me like a great book idea, I'm like, I need to start the
Love it.
research now. Like now I'm,
Amazing.
and it
I'm
makes a
the
big
same way.
difference because when you enjoy what you do, it doesn't make it feel so mentally taxing.
Exactly.
And I love your energy. I'm telling you. So, okay, people they want a consultation with you. Where do they go? How do they start? What's the website? All the information.
No problem. So you can find me on EcomRevolutionX.com, but I am rebranding, by the way. So that website might change. But for now, it's EcomRevolutionX.com. I'm sure you'll link it in the show notes.
I will.
Or you can find me on Instagram at Shlesha Pandey. I'm actually going through a major like Instagram overhaul right now where I'm starting to post more on organic social, which I'm like, so I think this is my problem is that I don't like posting on social media. But you know
I
what?
understand why, but yes.
But it's not that I don't like it. I just feel like there's so many things I need to do to post on like Instagram, for example. I need to make a reel, or I need to make a graphic, I need to make a cover, I need to like post a caption.
I know it becomes overwhelming. And I think that because I started posting before I started writing, that like the writing part was like, I think that's why I emailed today. I'm like, Lisa, why wasn't that a thought? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say this, if you want to find me or if you're interested in even beginner like email marketing tips, I have a playbook on my website called Email Marketing Playbook. I can send that link to you and you can link that. That
Please
way
do.
anyone who is like new to email marketing, they can just kind of find out like, you know, the top things that you would need to get started. I think that would be helpful. Other than that, find me on Instagram at Shlesha Pandey. And yeah, you
I
can
love
get
it.
in touch and we'll talk about
I'm
your
going
models.
to I'm going to make sure that it's big and bright, because I just feel like you're so knowledgeable about what you're doing, and you're not trying to do anything. You know what you're doing. That's
Yeah.
what we're going to say. I know what I'm doing. This is going to give you the results. We're not going to say I know or I think. That we're going to stop that.
I know. I know.
Now I know we're going to say it tomorrow and be like, no.
But the good thing is when you like, at least we're catching ourselves now. I think like a few years ago, I would have just continued saying it without even realizing I was saying it.
Growth. I like it. Growth.
Yeah. Always growth minded. You never
Yes,
look
I love
back.
it.
That's one of my values in life is like, I never look back in the past. You make a mistake, it's done. Like you just move forward.
And I tell people all the time, like, grieve it, feel it, be present, go to the next thing.
100%. I love
Because
that.
because like I don't want to keep looking over my shoulders because I'm clumsy and I'll fall.
Yeah.
That's just who I am.
I think we should do another podcast episode. I'm like, I feel like we barely got into it.
I know. Look, I promise you, because I wasn't going to do a season. I wasn't going to do a season, and then I just had this feeling in my body, like God was like, you have to do what I gave you this gift, do the thing. And I was like, okay. And so I was like, I literally have to do another season because it's 25 episodes that I'm recording between now and the 1st of September.
Wow.
So I need to like,
I love that.
put it up. So if you want to come back, because so what is teaser
Alert. We're going to do the teaser
alert.
now.
Okay. So the next time we talk, we're going to talk about go.
I need to think about this. What are we going to talk about next?
We didn't. Okay. So some of the things, scalable business models.
Okay, yes, let's talk about actual business next time, like business scaling a business.
But we were talking about business. If you as a person aren't prepared to be a business owner on the inside, if you haven't worked on yourself on the inside, your business is going to struggle, because if you're struggling mentally, your business is going to struggle too.
You know, maybe we can talk about that. Maybe we can talk about how to prep your mind to scale your business.
I love that. So we're going to talk about prepping your mind to start a business, maybe how to scale your business if you're already a business owner, and
exactly,
the different marketing channels.
Exactly. Different marketing channels. We'll talk about, you know, like there's so many options out there. I feel like this was our topic for today, the paradox of choice.
What?
I'll talk about that next time.
We'll just be like, to be continued, and we'll have
I love how organic this conversation was, though. It was like no structure, but like it flowed really well. And I'm sure like whoever listens to this, they'll get some good good gems in there.
You gave some great gems, because I promise you there are a lot of people who are like me, who may be like between the 0 to 5 year business owners, who are trying to figure out like, yes, you've had a business for 5 years, but when did you really start your business? You know, you had the name for maybe 5 years, but maybe you started your business and like the last 2 years, you've really been taking it seriously.
That was me.
Yeah.
Like I've been like copywriting or writing for a long time. I would say like 7, 8 years now. I think it's been 8 years now where I have been in business, but I haven't been in business. Like I was a freelancer, kind of like not taking it too seriously, making some money here and there. But only in the last, I would say 2 to 3 years, I really started taking it seriously. Like, okay, this is my full-time thing. This is what I'm going to be doing and scaling, and time to think like a business owner and become that business owner. And as you can see, like after 3, 4, 7, even up to the 7 year mark, like my consistency has not faded. Like I have not given up, and I am still so happy. Like that's one of the things I find is that people lose their happiness over time. Well, we can talk about that next time.
I love it. I love it. No, honestly, we have to do another one because I think that's included in why you want to be a business owner and how healthy are you as a business owner? Like how mentally healthy are you as a business owner? Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good topic.
Oh, that is. Oh, okay.
Okay. See, I'm telling you, but this is why I love spaces like this because you get to have conversations and then you get to continue the conversation. It doesn't have to be one and done.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that sometimes when you have conversations, you're just like, I don't know what we talked about, but I know exactly what we talked about. And I know that when I get off of this, I have work to do because I need to prepare myself for when I'm talking to you because I have work to do. I have an email list that I need to start working on.
Hey, don't stress over it. Like I'm happy to help you out in any way
Yeah.
I can.
I thank you so much for being on the podcast today. We will definitely do this again. You
Okay.
just let me know what it looks like, what your schedule looks like. I think I probably will be starting another podcast maybe in like December.
Sure.
But I would love to continue the conversation and we need to take some notes so we won't forget what we were supposed to talk about because we'll get on here and start talking about something else again. I'm sure
Oh
we
yeah, I think we need the structure next time. I was like, yeah, let's do it organic, but
but it's okay. It's okay.
yeah, it's okay. It's all fun. Like I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I will be reaching out to you and everybody else, please, because I think that as entrepreneurs, we really need people on our team who want to see us win, who organically can help us grow so that we can keep the clients that we have, and somebody who really believes in what they're doing, because if they believe in what they're doing, they'll teach you how to believe in what you're doing. And I love that part.
Yeah, I love that part too. That was beautiful.
Yay! Look at us, grown-ups.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you next time.
You too. Thank you, Lovely.
Guys, thank you. I enjoyed talking to Shlesha so much that I got off of the recording and instantly went and stalked her like I said I was not going to do. Okay. So I'm going to be working with her because I feel like Shlesha has so much that she can teach me. Okay. She opened my eyes was this big. And I said, you know what? Yes. Push the button. Yeah. Yes. So I learned one, that I need to create a newsletter, and so do you. Two, you need an expert with regards to email marketing, strategizing, coming up with new ways to not only invigorate the market that you're trying to saturate, but also to ask for help when you don't know what you're doing. Because as Shlesha was talking to me and she was getting excited, then I was getting excited. Then I realized I was excited over something that I hadn't done yet. And I want to do what she told me to do. Anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast because look, sometimes somebody says something to you and it sparks this burning need to like get it done. And she lit something. I was like, I didn't think that I was ready for that. And she really let me know, what you mean you're not ready for that? We're ready for this. We got this. And I said, yes, ma'am, we got this. But can you help me out because I don't know what I'm doing. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Please like, subscribe, follow, find that send me a message. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I want to bring you podcast episodes that you want to see. I really feel like we have so much more to come, but Shlesha really had me out here running off this podcast. I took off my dress and everything. I love conversations like that. And remember, guys, we want to articulate our feelings, wants, needs, and desires so that we can what? Better advocate for ourselves and the people that we love. I hope you have a good day. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you found some healing, connection, and joy. Until next time, bye, loves.